The night was alive with the hum of insects and the occasional distant howl. I pulled into the gas station, the glow of the neon sign flickering ominously in the darkness. Working the graveyard shift was never my first choice, but bills needed to be paid. As I stepped out of my car, a chill ran down my spine. The air felt thick, almost suffocating. The gas station itself seemed frozen in time, its weathered walls bearing the scars of years gone by. Entering the convenience store, a wave of nostalgia hit me, the smell of stale coffee mixed with motor oil. I headed towards the counter, greeted by the tired eyes of the cashier, an older man named Hank. "Evening," he grumbled, barely looking up from his crossword puzzle. I nodded in response, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling settling in my gut. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting eerie shadows on the worn linoleum floor. I busied myself with stocking shelves, trying to ignore the growing sense of unease. Hours dragged on, and the silence of the night was interrupted only by the occasional car passing by. But as the clock struck midnight, things began to change. A faint tapping echoed from outside, rhythmic and persistent. I glanced at Hank, but he seemed unperturbed, lost in his puzzle. Curiosity got the better of me, and I peered out of the window. There, standing under the flickering streetlight, was a figure. It was hard to make out any details in the darkness, but its unnaturally elongated limbs made my heart race. I rubbed my eyes, convinced it was just fatigue playing tricks on me. But the figure remained. I returned to my duties, attempting to ignore the sense of dread that lingered in the air. The tapping grew louder, more insistent, as if it wanted to be noticed. Suddenly, a customer burst through the door, breaking the eerie silence. A young woman, panic etched on her face. "Please, you have to help me," she cried, breathless and terrified. Hank and I exchanged a worried glance before rushing to her aid. She babbled about a creature outside, stalking her car as she drove down the deserted road. Her trembling hands pointed frantically towards the window. I looked outside, expecting to see the same unsettling figure, but there was nothing. Just the empty darkness and the dim glow of the streetlight. Hank tried to calm her down, offering to call the police, but she refused, insisting on leaving immediately. As she hurried out, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Minutes passed in tense silence before a loud screech shattered the stillness. Rushing outside, my heart sank at the sight. A mangled wreck, the woman's car, twisted and contorted as if something had ripped through it. Panic surged through me and I fumbled for my phone, but there was no signal. The tapping resumed, louder now, echoing from all directions. I turned to Hank, his face pale as he clutched the phone receiver, only static on the line. "We need to get out of here," I urged, my voice quivering. But before we could make a move, the lights flickered, plunging us into darkness. Fear clenched my chest as I groped for the flashlight under the counter. Hank's trembling hand found mine, and together we navigated the pitch-black store. The tapping grew closer, more frenzied, reverberating through the walls. Our footsteps echoed as we stumbled towards the back exit, desperate to escape whatever horror awaited us. As we reached the door, a bone-chilling howl pierced the night, freezing us in our tracks. The ire turned frigid, our breaths visible in the dim beam of the flashlight. I pushed open the door, and the flashlight flickered, revealing the figure from earlier, now inches away. Its twisted form contorted grotesquely, a twisted grin etched across its elongated face. Hank and I screamed, scrambling backward as the creature advanced, its limbs bending unnaturally. With a surge of adrenaline, we bolted, racing towards the gas pumps, our only hope for salvation. The creature pursued us, its unearthly shrieks echoing in the night. I grabbed a gas nozzle, spraying fuel wildly as Hank fumbled for a lighter. The world seemed to slow as the spark ignited, the flames engulfing the creature in a blinding inferno. Its unearthly screams filled the air before fading into an eerie silence. Panting and trembling, we watched the flames consume the nightmarish entity before it vanished into smoke, leaving behind a lingering smell of sulfur, The fire crackled, casting dancing shadows across the gas station. Hank and I exchanged a wordless understanding. We'd witnessed something inexplicable, something beyond comprehension. The night air felt lighter as the first rays of dawn broke through the horizon. Emergency sirens wailed in the distance as we waited for help, our minds grappling with the horrors of that fateful night.